Hi, everyone. Happy Small Business Day to you. And I know what you were all thinking, I wish I had those shoes. All right, so before we get started here, I thought before we turn things over to our distinguished panel of AI experts, we thought we would ask you guys a question. Quick show of hands, how many of you are currently using AI in your businesses? Oh my gosh. Wow. So we have a distinguished panel, we have a distinguished audience. Look at this, this is going to be a great conversation. Thank you for that. We may come back to you at some point with some additional questions, and we hope you'll have questions for us as well. We're going to leave a few minutes at the end for that. So Jordan, I'm going to start with you. And I think that this is probably, we may not need to start in the simplest of terms because we have such an expert audience, but we wanted to talk a little bit about, like, what is AI? Can you give us a little bit of a level set there? And, you know, there may be a starting level, like a freshman level class, and there may be a graduate level class answer to that.
Happy to do so. And I think one thing I will say, AI was not invented last year, I think, as the news seemed to indicate. But AI really is a technology that in many ways can mimic decision-making that humans are making. You know, we've seen a lot of different definitions of what it is, but I can tell you, you know, what it's doing, generally speaking. It's being used in what are known as large language models, where you can plug in a task you want AI to perform, and it can give you multiple different answers for different problem sets that you provide for it. There are also specific examples of artificial intelligence that are being used every day. So if you use GPS to get here, or Waze, that's AI. If you are actually looking at the next video that popped up on YouTube and have a suggestion there, AI has a role to play in making those suggestions. So artificial intelligence is actually something that has been around for quite some time, but it's this large language model version of AI that can do multiple tasks, which is really the new and I think hot use case of this technology that we've seen in the last year.
That's great, thank you. And Jordan, did you tell everyone quickly what your role is here at the Chamber?
Yeah, so I am Senior Vice President of our Technology Engagement Center, and that's acronym is CTEC. And CTEC tells the story of the benefits of technology for all Americans, but also we go to Capitol Hill and state capitals to advocate for rational policy solutions to make sure that small businesses like yourself can continue to reap the benefits of the technology that's being developed.
Great. So important job. Thank you for taking that on. Mark, let's come to you. So we know that we have a lot of AI users in the audience. And Jordan talked a little bit about the different types of AI. Can you take that a step further and go just a little deeper into some of the different types of AI that we're seeing used in businesses today?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And like Jordan indicated, AI wasn't invented a year ago, as you might think just from casually browsing the news. And it's particularly hard to understand because AI doesn't mean one thing exactly. And you find different definitions from different sources. People say different things about it or use different terminology. So let me try to put it in like 3 buckets. And again, you might find people use different terms for these things if you go look this up afterward. But bucket 1 is task-oriented AI. And this is when an AI is designed to do like one specific thing, say facial recognition or clearing spam out of your inbox. So you may even be using some of these things and not know it because it's so specific and it's kind of behind the scenes. So that kind of AI is not for general use, but it's in a lot of the tools you already use, especially if you use stuff from large tech companies. 2 is what we call strong AI. This is a little bit more things along the lines of ChatGPT, but it's also the kind of AI that might be in a self-driving car, okay? It is multi-purposed. It can be used for creative reasons, research reasons, a variety of things. And a lot of times when you see the news headlines, they're talking about that. And that's something like 60% of the AI that's out there, according to not me, but like a third party who's researched this. The third bucket is talked about a lot, but isn't very relevant in actuality, at least not right now. Super intelligent AI is like the kind of AI like the movie Terminator, where it's going to destroy all humans and take over all of our things and will lack all control at some point in the future, theoretically. So there's a lot of people talking about that and worried about it. In reality, it doesn't exist right now. And it's certainly not the kind of thing you'd use in your small business. So those are like 3 buckets just to kind of generally think about the many, many tools and services that are out there already or will be emerging soon.
So that third bucket is, I'm glad Denise is sitting next to me. Denise can talk a lot about, in one of her areas of specialty, not just with AI, but in technology in general, is data security. Denise, can you talk to us a little bit about AI and the security concerns, especially as small businesses? What our friends here might want to be on the lookout for, what they should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think with all security, you guys all know that you have to be particularly careful when it comes to your technology. And I think that Gen AI, at least for me, feels different. Probably because it's just so exciting. There's so much hype around it that I just want to get out there and try it. And so there's this temptation to just either upload a document or input a bunch of data without thinking, was that sensitive data? Was that proprietary data? So Gen AI feels more risky because it is. As we were just hearing before, there are some use cases where you can integrate Gen AI with your email. And so maybe if you're a service organization, it might read those emails for you and perhaps even automatically respond. And that's fantastic, right, from an efficiency perspective and even from prompt responses to your customers. But there's a level of risk associated there, right? Because now it knows about all of your emails and all of your email content. So it's definitely something that we have to be a little bit more aware of, because there's so much potential with AI to do great things.
Can I ask you a follow-up question there?
Of course.
So knowing the potential for risk there, what might we do, what might we want to do to safeguard some of that information?
So if our CIO was here, and maybe he is, he would flat out say, then just don't use it. But that's not practical. So second to that would be, don't put in sensitive or proprietary information if you don't need to. There are some use cases where if you're just doing content creation, you don't necessarily have to input that. So be aware of what you're sharing. The second one, I think, would be to understand the platform that you're using and understand their security policies. So usually there's information on the site about how they use and how they store your data. So just have an awareness about that. If you don't see it, ask them what their security policies are, ask them if they're compliant with any different security practices.
It's probably great advice just in general, isn't it?
In general, always.
Great, thank you. So Jordan, I want to come back to you, and in your role, you're talking to businesses every day. Do you have any maybe particular anecdotes or stories you can share about what you're seeing here, at the chamber and businesses using AI that might be helpful?
Yeah, one of the cool things about my job is I get to go throughout the country and see all the different cool types of tech that small businesses are using. And we actually released a report a few months ago, and this was just as generative AI was coming onto the scene. And our report's called Empowering Small Business. And what we found was even 6 months ago, a quarter of small businesses are using generative AI in some capacity. And I've gotten to go out into the field and really see that happening. I'll provide you 2 examples. One, I had a chance to meet with the owner of a coffee shop in San Francisco called Henry's House of Coffee. Hrag Klebjian is the owner, and he was talking to me about how he's been able to increase his search optimization online in terms of getting clicks for his website using generative AI. And what he told me was he actually went to YouTube, another kind of tech, learned how to do this, goes on Shopify, who is working with him with selling the products, learning which search terms he should be putting into his website in order to make sure he gets the most hits on Google and other websites. And then what he does is he takes those terms and then goes to ChatGPT, and he'll plug and play and actually ask for marketing materials from ChatGPT. But what he said, though, is this. ChatGPT is not going to do everything for you on its own. You can't just be lazy and type some things in and hope that it's going to give you a marketing plan. You have to put in some effort. You have to put in, what the product is. You have to put in even prompts in there, for example, saying, I need you to write me marketing materials that would catch this audience, for example. And he said it's actually been a real boon, and that it's helped him cut down on about 70% of his time on marketing. And that's a big deal for a small business owner. Another example, I was talking to Kim. She's actually the owner of started in her kitchen a place called Something Sweet Dough. She sells cookie dough. And her husband passed away 2 years ago, started a business with her daughters, and also used the Shopify platform and some of the same search engine optimization tools. But then she's also using back-end uses of AI for things like logistics and shipping. So now she's shipping across the country. Actually got a delivery at my house across the country. They're great. I recommend them. But also she's in store shelves across the country in grocery stores. And this technology is really providing efficiencies to small businesses who may not have the resources to really get off the ground nationally at the start.
Those are great examples. Thank you. Mark, before I come to you, I want to turn to you again and ask a question. And this is safe zone, also mindful that we have an audience online, may not be as AI savvy as you. Are there any of you, and it's okay if you just raise your hand in your head, who think you may not ever dip your toes into the AI waters or aren't seeing a particular use case for it in your businesses? We'll pretend that everyone online is our audience here. So I think it is instructive to talk about this anyway, because it might help us see different ways of just talking about businesses that aren't using AI right now, or maybe don't see an opportunity to expand the footprint of their AI use. Mark, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. AI is a bright, shiny object, and there's a lot of hype about it. Some of it's real and some of it isn't. But at the end of the day, small businesses come in all shapes and sizes and do all kinds of things in all industries, right? So if you're a business owner, the number one thing, whether it's AI or some other digital tool or platform, is that you have to make it work for you in your specific case, which isn't just about what you sell or what industry you're in, but it's the whole business. It's how many staff you have, how competitive are you? Do you have financial resources, perhaps? What is your position in the marketplace? Are you a market leader, or are you behind competitors and you're trying to catch up? So there's no silver bullet answer here. But that's the most important thing to keep in mind no matter what. It's got to fit into your business plan or strategy somehow or another. Now, the other thing, I'm the chief research officer of our firm, so RXN Group, and we've done a lot of research, and we've also interviewed small businesses. And the other thing that we know is that of people who get engaged with it and put the work in, something like 80% of them have already seen results, like in the last year or so. So you got to put in the work, like I think Jordan said. But if you do, you're going to tend to see results, and that comes in all shapes and sizes. So it can come from efficiencies or productivity in, say, running an advertising campaign online, where you're getting better keywords, or you're spending less time trying to come up with taglines, or even using AI to create graphics that are more creative than what you come up by yourself sitting in a room. But it can also come in forms like, making your website more engaging, or your customer service faster, or other things like that either sell more things or help make your customers have a better experience in some way. And believe me, like we talked to a law firm, just to kind of wrap up, and this person who runs an online law firm uses AI to analyze contracts as a first pass and catch things. So you might not think this is applicable to something like law, but it certainly is. We talked to another business owner who runs a limo business, and I believe he uses a service called limoanywhere.com. And the tagline of the service is basically run your limo business from anywhere, anytime. And you can, but it's kind of like Uber or Lyft if you use those. You have to dispatch. You need to know distances between the car and the customer and the times and all that. And at a big company like Uber or Lyft, that's all automated and mathematical and algorithmic and AI infused. But you can do it as a small business now too. So I think virtually no matter what you do, there's some way to improve and get some of that low-hanging fruit and make yourself a little bit more efficient, or make your team, your staff, work together a little more efficiently. And that alone will make your business grow over time, because it'll all add up.
Thank you. So I think what we would love to do right now is, you've heard a lot from us. We would love to hear from you, either questions or how you are using, since most, if not all of you are, how you are using AI in your businesses today. Maybe how you got started, what worried you, if those worries were well-founded. Were you raising your hand right here? Please, do we have a microphone is coming to you.
Hi. I work with a lot of small businesses, and I hear entrepreneurship coaches just kind of pushing AI for everything. And we heard in the last panel a great example of a startup product where she made some of the product and she went and she actually talked to customers. And some of those customer conversations turned into bigger contracts and whatnot. And AI has so many great uses if you're struggling with different styles of writing or doing repetitive tasks and that sort of thing. But when it comes to actually understanding your customers, where is it too soon not to talk to a customer directly and just have AI go out and look for things online to say, oh yeah, that's what customers are talking about. That's what I'm going to make my business about.
I can start that at least, sure. You know, like I said before, you have to make it work for you, right? So there's no silver bullet. I think if you sell teddy bears online and you're selling 1 or 2 a day and you have very few complaints or returns, you don't really need AI to help you with that problem. And your biggest problem is probably just going to FedEx or the post office or something to get the teddy bears out in their boxes on time, right? Now, when you start to scale that same business and you're getting 10 complaints a day or returns or questions, right? Then you start to run into a problem where you have other things to do, like manufacturing or warehouse or shipping with all the bears that are going out the door for Valentine's Day or whatever is coming up. And you're gonna end up getting to those customers too late, and that creates dissatisfaction. So that's a moment where you start to think, well, what could I plug into this step in my process that would help me be more efficient at that? And AI can't take your teddy bear to the post office, but it can send an auto reply, or in more sophisticated versions, answer simple questions, or at least try to, until you can, maybe a human has to get in the loop again to help the customer. So that's what I would say about, you know, there's kind of a spectrum of any given problem, and these things scale. One thing that we know from some of our research is that when the companies get bigger and when companies have more employees and more revenue, those larger companies are definitely using AI more. And it's in part, it's because they have bigger businesses and you can get more efficiency. And partly it's due to just having more resources to learn about the AI and test it and so on. So that is definitely one thing we see as a very strong correlation with business size. Just among small businesses, business size.
I think we have 2 right behind her here. Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Tiffany Michelle. I am the salon owner of Michelle Premiers in Severna Park. My question is, I just opened my salon, and I'm trying to really understand where AI fits in my business? Like, how do I start up to reach a lot of my clients? Because I have a lot of clients that are still in Texas that I still service as far as like shipping out, whether it's hair units, products. And I'm trying to see how AI can fit, because I'm new here to Maryland, and I'm new in Severna Park, so trying to still build my staff. I'm pretty much doing 2 jobs at once. So I'm just trying to figure out where to start with AI in my business to help me to not miss my clients that are in other states.
Congratulations on
Thank
your new
you.
business. Who makes?
Well, I think a couple of things I think are helpful. One is, is the issue of search engine optimization. If you have a website, or the first thing I would do is really try to figure out the terms that really catch people's attention online in terms of search on Google and things like that, and then go to a ChatGPT or a Bing or a Gemini and work with those programs to basically input, trying to reach a certain consumer base, or I'm trying to reach customers in this area. This is what my business is. Can you put the best terms for my business on my website that I can write to market it, so that it's easily accessible online? Another thing is ChatGPT is also very good at communications with potential customers as well too. So, in terms of if you want to, write emails to your client base to let them, know what you're up to, you can easily and more quickly use, a ChatGPT to help write those emails that you want to go out to your customers, so you're not having to spend so much time trying to craft the perfect email. But I think, as you mentioned as well too, there's still, the personal touch. You still have to be involved with your customers. This is a tool that's going to save and cut time. You still need to be out there amongst your customers as well too, and potential clients. But those are a couple ways I think that could be helpful.
Yeah, I have an addition to that too, just popped up. I know we have someone in the crowd earlier that mentioned they have a business that help you with creating content for your social media marketing, and then can help you with scheduling that and have it post automatically. And if you're not, and he's got his hands up, good job. If you're not ready to do that, because I recognize that there's a financial aspect, is just do it yourself, right? As Jordan was saying, you go to ChatGPT and say, give me a 7-day outline of a LinkedIn strategy focusing on X, and then just schedule them. Yeah.
I love the networking and the collaboration in here. Okay, we have time for, I think, one last quick question.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have a question about partnership with U.S. Chamber of Commerce, because now, recently, President Biden issued 2 executive orders about regulation, about future regulation of AI. I'm founder of AI translation and dubbing technology, and I think about how it will be regulated when it comes to the Congress, when the law will appear. And can we create a system when U.S. Chamber of Commerce can be a bridge between small business and decision makers in regulation of AI?
What a great question. Jordan, I think that is for you.
Yeah, our job is really to make those connections between government and private sector and small businesses, and that's what we've been doing. And we'd love to, partner, and please, get us your contact information. But what we've done is we've gone around the country and we've connected small business owners with leaders in states, and we're doing the same thing on a federal level as well too. So we're more than happy to really show the benefits of small business use of this technology, because quite frankly, it's hard for a big company to go in sometimes and explain to congressional office what their technology does or the benefits it provides, but when they see how a small business uses it, it clicks. And so it's so important that we're able to help partner and amplify the voices of small businesses that are really booming from this technology.
Thank you. So I would like to, we all would thank you for your participation. You are as much a part of a panel as our esteemed guests. Have a great rest of the day. Happy Small Business Week to all of you. And Mark, Jordan, and Denise, thank you so much for joining us to talk about AI.